One of the biggest threats to a business isn't a competitor. It's not a market crash. It's actually hiding in plain sight, right there on the payroll. I'm talking about the ineffective manager. In this explainer, we're going to break down how to spot this hidden threat and, more importantly, how to find the true leaders who can really drive your company forward.
So let's start with a quick thought experiment. Just picture your team facing a real crisis. A crazy deadline, a huge client issue. Who is the one person everyone, and I mean everyone, turns to? The one who actually solves the problem. It might not be the person with the fancy title. Just keep that person in mind as we go through this.
First, let's be really clear about how big this problem is. This isn't just about a boss who's, a little boring or uninspiring. No, we're talking about a genuine, hidden threat that is quietly sabotaging productivity, morale, and ultimately your company's bottom line. There's a perfect nickname for this type of manager, the drone. And think about it. It makes total sense. They occupy a key position, they get paid, but they contribute literally nothing of value. Actually, it's worse than that. They actively drain energy from the whole organization by dodging decisions and just poisoning the team's culture.
The best way to really understand the damage a drone can do is to see them in a direct comparison with their total opposite, the true leader. And what's so important to remember here is that this leader might not even have a management title. The difference between these two types of people, it's night and day. I mean, just look at this. The difference is incredibly stark. A drone runs away from responsibility, a leader runs towards it. A drone creates conflict just to stay in control, while a leader works with people to solve problems. This right here is the fundamental difference. Authority from a title versus authority that's actually earned through competence. But the ultimate test? It's this. When a drone is on vacation, the whole team kind of breathes a sigh of relief. Productivity might even go up. But when a true leader's away, you feel it. Their absence leaves a real, tangible hole. Okay, so the theory is pretty clear, right? But how do you actually use this in your own workplace? Let's get practical. Think of this next part as your field guide for spotting these key players out in the wild. So let's start with the hard part. How do you spot the drones? This isn't about looking for some kind of cartoon villain. It's way more subtle than that. It's about seeing the specific, consistent behaviors that are quietly destroying value. So here are the telltale signs. First, they are masters of indecision. They're always pushing choices onto somebody else. Second, their whole vibe is about control and micromanagement, not actually supporting you. Third, just being around them is a drain. They demotivate the very people they're supposed to be leading. And finally, the biggest red flag of all, things genuinely just run better when they're not there. All right, enough about the drones. Let's flip this and focus on the positive, because this is where the real opportunity is. How do you find those hidden gems, the true leaders, who might not have the title, but have all the influence? The signs of a true leader are just as clear, They're the ones everyone naturally goes to for advice. When things go wrong, they're the first to step up and take charge, and you never have to ask them. This proves their authority is real. It's earned through being good at what they do, not given to them on an org chart. And of course, when they're gone, you feel it. They're the real glue holding things together, and the work definitely slows down without them. Okay, so identifying these folks is the diagnosis. But a diagnosis without a treatment plan, it's pretty useless. So now let's turn this into action with a really clear 4-step plan. Okay, step 1, assess influence. Just ask your team, hey, when you're stuck, who do you go to for help? The answers are going to show you where the real power is. Step 2, audit your managers. And be honest, are they creating value or just warming a seat? Step 3, and this one is so crucial. Promote the people who are already leading. Make their informal authority official. And finally, step 4, don't be afraid of change. Getting rid of a drone isn't a failure. It's a necessary move that can breathe brand new life into your business. So why bother with all this trouble? Because getting your leadership right isn't just some small tweak. It can fundamentally change the entire path of your business. The payoff here is huge. And the results? They really speak for themselves. When you put competent, responsible leaders in those key positions, the whole environment improves. Productivity shoots up because people feel enabled, not just managed. Your best people stick around because they feel valued and they see a future. Turnover drops. You build a strong, healthy culture. And all of this leads to the one thing every business wants: sustainable growth. It really all comes down to this powerful idea.
A business wins not because it has their people in positions, but because it has people who can actually lead a team and take responsibility for what happens. A title means nothing if you can't back it up. So the final thought I'll leave you with is this. Take a hard, honest look at your organization and ask yourself, are the people wearing the crowns the same people who are actually leading the charge?